Hi, it's me again. Nice to see you. This is part 2 of... Hi, dog. This is part 2 of my series of teaching you about the world and this world and what's going on. Alright, we'll start like this. Back in the day, which is, you know, something I'm sure a lot of you've read about, the Hindu mystics and the Buddhist guys and all those sages and people, they made these illustrations of the life of a human being. They usually used a man, usually not a woman, because women weren't even considered at that time. So then you've got like this whole lifetime to kind of give people an example of what it was to be involved in linear time. So you've got a baby, a small child, a teenager, an adult, an older person, and then a really old person, illustrations in a lot of the old sages' books, and then you show them and they're all dead. But they're not. They're just saying, you play out this little role, okay? And that's your little tiny linear time aspect of yourself. And these are all really well illustrated. They're usually very colorful, and they're on motifs in India and other places, but nobody's ever really kind of updated them, and they're very deep and meaningful and kind of serious. So not serious. I get kind of bored with serious sage stuff. So I thought I would update it for you and illustrate it in a more pleasant manner and give you a little more insight as to what it is. Okay, so I'm going to illustrate for you. All right, anyway, let's start first this way. Here's the earth. Okay, it's a circle, supposedly. I'm kind of like over here watching it, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, whoa, that's weird. That is a strange place, you know, this, you know. I'm using purple because it's a sacred color. Actually, no, I'm using it because it's the only marker I have that works. And so there's the earth. Now, the earth is really busy, okay? It's really, really busy because there's people having sex all over the earth. There's humping going on all over the earth right now. Not just people. I mean, armadillos, flamingos, rats, cockroaches, everything is just, trees, bees, everything's just propagating and pollinating and doing its thing. And it's like, if you could listen, if you listen really closely, you'll hear it. Hump, 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 hump. So it's all going on, you know, and so that's the whole sound of like Joseph Campbell talks about, you know, life creates life, life eats life, and all that other crap. So that's going on, okay? All right, so supposedly. So I'm standing up in some star system watching this and saying, man, you know, there's a lot of that going on. That's why after about a year of marriage, and the reason it's going on, hold on. The reason it's going on, first of all, is because people want to release oxytocin, which is a stress releaser when you do that. And, you know, caterpillars are having stress release. Frogs that are having sex are having stress release. And the same thing goes with human beings who are also animals. They're also having stress release. So like after a year of marriage, as I was going to say, you know, it sort of wears off and you've gotten your stress release and you're like, who are you? You know, so you're at my chemicals. I've already got them. I don't need it. Who are you? And then you get divorced. But not always, you know. I'm just making a joke. Okay, nonetheless. All right, so we'll do the illustration of the baby crap. So there you are, you know, and you're just this little baby and you're just laying there and you're happy or crying or whatever. So there's a little baby. He's so cute. And you're practically an angel, so I'm going to put some wings on him there. Looks like a bee. Anyway, you're a baby and you crap your pants, you know, and You just lay there and you look at the world, your eyes open up and you're like, wow, look at that, look at the world. I'm like, you know, and everything's coming in and it's making no sense whatsoever. So you're enjoying it because it has absolutely no sense to it. There's no synapses in the brain that are making any sense. It's just like everything, it's all going on all at once. And it's like you see God that way. You know, it's babies, if you look in their eyes, they're like, whoa, you know, I see God. They see everything. So I kind of like babies. That's why I like them so much. So there you are at the beginning. That's the beginning of it. So little baby, very enlightened little fellow. Well, okay, so you go from that, and then you become a kid, okay? Little kid. And you still got that look in your eye, you know? You're like, whoa, check it out. Things are really cool, you know? Awesome. I like it. This is fun. But you're starting to form patterns, you know? You're like, oh, somebody told me that's a tree, so it must be a tree. Somebody told me that's a... So you're kind of starting to get a little bit limited because you've got these huge people standing behind you that are telling you that's a this and that's a that and that's a this and that's a that. And you're like, oh, man, okay, don't do this. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So you're getting kind of a pattern of a system going, and it actually is limiting what this little guy's seeing because, you know, it's the only way if you walked around like that, you know, people are going to put you away. So you have to learn this supposedly stuff, you know, like this is this and that's that. That's a tree, that's a table, that's a chair, that's a dog, and blah, blah, blah. All right. And you start noticing things. So that's the little kid. And the little kid also starts learning about the hierarchy of things. Unfortunately, fortunately, they just learn about it. They learn about, you know, that person's this and that person's that, and they get a lot of those bigger people that are telling them all that because they learned that crap too. All right, so now you're leaving the little kid stage where you're swinging on swings and playing and having fun and learning about other creatures that look like you, and you get a little bit bigger, and now you're a teenager, and your hormones kick in. You notice the frown? Okay, so there's the frown. All right, and you're like a teenager. Okay, so you go through this whole stage where you're having a whole good time, and then all of a sudden you look and there's this teenager, you know. Ugh. You're not happy. Well, you're kind of happy. It's like you still want to do this. You kind of forgot about this. People show you pictures of it and you're like, man, I was an idiot. But this one is like kind of difficult because your hormones are changing and all this stuff's going on, and you've got a whole lot more bigger people behind you saying, you need to really take things seriously, you know, and you're like, man, and my hormones are changing, and I have zits. I'm really depressed. And so a lot of teenagers, I feel sorry for them because I wouldn't want to do that again, play that role out. You remember, I'm on the Crab Nebula somewhere watching all this. All right, so there's the teenager, not happy. Man, I just want to get out of here, man. You know, and it's especially hard if you're gay. It's especially hard if you're disabled or you look funny to people. You're really going to get your ass kicked. So, you know, good luck. But just being a teenager sucks, okay? It's fun, too, but it also sucks. Plus, you start thinking about humping, which occurs with teenagers, whether people admit it or not. So you're really confused, you know, and you just don't know what to do. You want to go back, actually, to him and swing on swings. So now you're a teenager, and you're really not happy, and you're even mad sometimes, all right? So, bummer. All right, then you go to college or get a job or whatever you do, and you're starting to become an adult, okay? And you're not too sure about this. You're an adult, And you're like in your 20s, your 30s, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm an adult now. And you meet somebody, and you maybe fall in love, and then you fall out of love, and then you fall in love with somebody else. Because by now you've been taught what love is. You've been taught that love is lust a lot. You've also been taught that and you know, there's a whole lot of stuff out there telling you it's really, really shallow. I mean, it's really shallow. You look a certain way, and people will love you. If you don't look a certain way, people won't love you. Which is a big pile of shit, because the way you look has nothing to do with whether you should be loved or not. Key is you're already loved. You don't have to look any certain way. You can have, your nose can be 5 feet long and your ears can fall down to your ankles. And if you think you're not loved, you're wrong. You are loved. Doesn't matter. All right, so now you're an adult and you're like, oh man, you know, and you maybe get pregnant and, you know, do that humping thing and start this thing over again. And you've sort of like look back on your teenage years and you're like, I'm really glad I'm not there anymore. And then you look back on the kid and you're like, man, I kind of missed that. That was fun. I was on a swing. And you look back at the baby part and you're like, whoa, man, I was sure cute, but you really don't think about it. But then once you get pregnant, this is for ladies, or dads, you think, wow, well, now that I've been this and this, I'm going to understand this, okay? Not necessarily, but, you know, it's a good idea to remember these because then you can deal with that thing. Okay, so then you've had the baby's getting older, you know, and you've either gotten divorced or you're still married to the same person, or you become widowed, like me, or just anything happens, who knows. And you might have a few of these pop out of you, which is, I'm not going to draw a picture of that. So then, now you're getting middle-aged. Okay, now here's the fun part. So you're getting middle-aged and the kids have grown up, all right? And your hair's turning gray and it's starting to look like that, see? And you're getting wrinkles, all right? You're like, what the fuck? You know, and because you got pregnant, now your boobs are starting to kind of fall down. And you're like, what the hell, you know? Because look, they're starting to fall down, and what used to be, your ass used to be there, it's down here somewhere. All right, so you're getting wrinkles and you're getting a double chin, which is kind of fun, actually, because you look like a turkey. And on Thanksgiving, people can, you know, you can say, anyway, and your ears are starting to fall a little, and anyway, you're getting wrinkles and your face is falling, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And your kids kind of leave, you know, and they're off on their own. They're teenagers or they're going to college. And then you start getting kind of depressed because you took this so seriously, see? You were taught to be serious right around here. You know, serious. And then you carried serious over to here. And you actually believed, you know, you were taught here to believe that all this was really serious and really real, all right? So, not so at all. So there you are, and you're getting all old and crappy and getting weird things on your body, dots and things, and you're like, what the heck? So then you start to shrink. And now your hair is starting to thin out and you're really getting old, and like these things on your face are falling and you're like, what? I look like my grandmother. You're just like, oh man, I'm looking like my grandmother now, and you're kind of humped over here. So your boobs are way down, and this is terrible drawing. Your boobs are way down and you've got varicose veins, and you're like wearing glasses because you can't see anything anymore. So you're way down here. So there you are, you know, and you're really, really getting old. And now your kids, now you've got grandkids and maybe even a great grandkid if you're from the deep south. I shouldn't say that. That's so not right. And so then you're like, what the heck? Why did I take all of this so seriously? Because when I was this, I didn't take any of it seriously. And then you start to think, aha, that whole time period, even though you go through it, was kind of dumb because you took it so seriously. Because like right around here, you really want to impress people. So you buy a Porsche or a fancy house and you go to fancy stores and you want your friends to like you a lot. You don't think you're loved because you were told, you know, that you have to have certain clothes at this age, that nobody's going to love you if you don't look a certain way, and you still carry that through. And so you're like, oh man, I need a Mercedes Benz, I need a big house, oh, people will love me if I have that, if I have the best stuff, you know, Abercrombie and Finch or whatever the hell that is. So I can only give the baby organic food, and I'm only going to shop at this place or that place. So you're all real. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying there's a whole lot of capitalism going on here, and they feed into your fear that you're not loved. Okay, a lot of people say, hey, if you don't look a certain way, you're not going to be loved. If you get these things, they tell you, you know, this stuff, you're not going to be loved. So a lot of women, which I honor, you know, they get rid of these things, which is fine. And it makes you happy. I don't care. This is just all temporary anyway, so who cares what you do with it? Doesn't really matter. So they, you know, they'll dye their hair around here, and it's just fine. You know, I dyed my hair once just for fun, and that was a pain in the ass, and I said, I'm never doing that again because it's too much trouble. But by now, you pretty much don't have any hair to dye, so you're really, really, really old on this one, okay? But you've got this incredible realization that this was the only one that made sense, all right, that baby. And you're like, wow, I want to see like that again. Now, you're lucky if you get to that point, though, because you might stay stuck in one of these and be mad. You could be really angry right here and say, hey, this was quick, this whole thing. I can't do this anymore. Don't want to. It was a teenager. Can't do this anymore. I really miss having babies. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of cats. Actually, I did that. You're like, oh, I thought I was old here. Oh, look at me now. You know, I can't even see. You know, I have glaucoma. So the only good thing about this, by the way, is that your period stops. That's like the best thing in the world. Okay, but here you don't even, your uterus is so old. It's like ancient. You could probably take it to an antique store and get all kinds of money for it. So, you know, put Versace on it or something. And so anyway, you've got this lady here, and this is again my Hindu illustration of life that we live. So now she's wanting, now if you get lucky around here, you say, wait a second, this was great, so I'm gonna continue trying to get back to this. So you do, you're just, then you become really, really old, okay? So you're lying down again, like this one, and yeah, you've got the diaper on, kind of, only you've got like really old boobs, and you've got a few hairs, and you're all really wrinkly. You've even got chin hairs, guys and women, and you're like looking at life again, and you're saying, wow, I'm crapping my pants, you know, or I'm peeing my pants again. This is amazing. I'm going back to this. And you're like, whoa, I'm back there, okay? But you can accept that you're gonna do that again and have fun with it. Or, and you can even, you can actually do this again at any of these ages if you really want to, okay? You can just say, I want to keep that angel part of me alive through all these, all right? But maybe you have to like go through all these to get back to that. So maybe that's it. So then there you are again, and you're at the end of this cycle, which I didn't illustrate like the Hindus do. It's a whole different illustration. And then you're done, okay? You're done. You're lying there, and we're going to X out the eyes, and your last breath, there it is, and your last fart. We'll make a fart too. Your last breath and your last fart both at the same time. And then you go back to, so like there's the earth again, see? And then you go back to, there's all the planets and all that other crap. You go back and you become all that again. And that's where you came from. That's home. And what you did was, when somebody right around here, well, I'll put that on a continent, somebody right around here was humping, and you were up, you were like floating around, having a good time, jumping from nebula to nebula, you know, your real self. I know that sounds pretentious, but that's how I think. And so your real self was kind of floating around, having a good time. Yee! And somebody humped and said, hey, I think I'll go down that way and come out of somebody's vagina, or become a zygote in someone's uterus, and I will try it again. I'm going to play out a role down here. Now, remember, there's a whole bunch of other dimensions, which quantum physics says there are. There's like infinite number. So you may be going all over the place, you know, your real self, to all these other dimensions and playing out roles there too, all at the same time, because there is no linear time. So you may be playing out a role in this little area and over here and all these other galaxies and all these other places, because this whole thing is all part of you. That's all who you are. You're all of them. So you can be like in all these places at the same time. When people talk about past lives, I always get annoyed, because there's no past. There's no future. There just is. And even science says that now. So you've got all these infinite dimensions going on, and they're overlapping each other like crazy. Looks kind of like a zygote, doesn't it? So they're all overlapping each other, and you've got all these yous playing out these roles. I mean, I may be, this thing you see right now is an apparition, so there may be a whole bunch of other Marianne apparitions going on all over the place. You know, it just depends on how far my imagination wants to go with what I'm creating from another place. So that's my concept for today, or my Hindu illustration, my crappy Hindu illustration of this little life thing. And by the way, if you want a perspective of that little circle of life, it's really short, okay? Just baby, child, teenager, adult, middle-aged person, old person, your person, and then you just start all over again if you want to, but you can start in all kinds of other places too. You don't have to just recognize that you're just in this one little spot. You're doing it here, you're doing it there, you're doing it here, you're doing it there. A lot of the near-death experiencers I talked to told me that they saw themselves in all these other dimensions, and they were playing out roles there too. So if you meditate, or if you just close your eyes, or if you just imagine it, there's all kinds of views going on. So you don't have to take any of this seriously. And the more I know, and the more I read quantum physics, and the more I look at the whole picture, the less serious this becomes. It is a play, or and I give credit to Ellen Dye, my friend Ellen Dye, for this, it's a comedy. And it's all in your perception as to how you see it. So you don't have to take any of it seriously. Some of the lessons I've learned from it are if you have a huge fear, a really huge fear, it's either going to come and grab you by the butt, or you just go and jump into it, because it's a very thin layer, fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. I know it exists out there to people, but just let go or be dragged, because I got dragged, you know. My greatest fear came true within the context of this play, and I realized that this is just a play, and all the parts were chosen, you know, from outside this little drama. And the script will be written, and it was written already, and I'm just going to play it out. That's my thing for today, my Hindu illustration done in a cartoonish way, which is how I see everything, like a cartoon. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your play and try to laugh at it. When what is perceived as the crappy things come, try to turn them over if you can and look at them in a different way. Just say, ah, I was always told that was crappy. Maybe that was a gift. Okay? Maybe it was a gift. I could learn from that. I can take this crappy thing and I can turn it over, spread it out, look at it, and see it as a glowing gift. Because everything is a gift. Every experience is a gift, even the ones that we were told to perceive when we're teenagers. Oh, that's terrible, that's a tragedy. So when you hear people say tragedy, flip it over and say comedy, or say gift. That might actually help. So those are my deep and meaningful words for today. Thank you for watching me yet again. All right, this is crappy Hindu Buddha whatever. And